This is an interview with Danielle Kelly. Danielle is the very first woman to ever win a one championship submission grappling world title. She won the inaugural atomweight belt by defeating Jessa Khan, and at the time of this interview, she's preparing to take on Mayssa Bastos in a rematch in order to regain that title.
Hi, Danielle. I guess first of all, the first thing I sort of wanted to ask for anyone that doesn't already know, how did you first sort of get started in the sport?
How did I get started in the sport? It's like a
Yeah,
little um that's actually a while ago, but I started like around 2000 mid 2006, but I started at like
yeah,
a karate school. Um but it was like more like a wrestling karate kind of type of thing, but they did like a little bit of
sure,
jiu-jitsu. Um but that was like mostly like for fun, and then like once I
yeah,
moved to different areas, I I guess like from bullying, I wanted to work on striking at a young age, but then my coach at the time had me do jiu-jitsu because I didn't know like what ground fighting was. So that's kind of how I
yeah.
got started with jiu-jitsu.
Cool. And then how do you start actually competing then? Did you just go straight into it from day one kind of thing?
I think like after 3 or 4 months of training of trying jiu-jitsu, I did like my first tournament. So I guess so. Like I didn't
Yeah,
just go right away like a month in, but it was about like 3 or 4 months. I did like a Naga tournament, and I did so well that the president of that tournament thought I was cheating, so he put me in the expert division, which I ended up taking third. So I was like, yeah, this
nice.
stuff's really cool. I can do this.
Cool, cool. And then obviously now that you're signed with one championship, you had the first couple of matches, and then obviously took the title, became the first female champion. Could you speak a little bit to that? Like, how did that feel becoming the first one out of anyone?
Yeah, it feels pretty good because I always like try to stay humble, but looking back, I'm really like grateful that I'm like definitely the first, but like probably in the future, like the very few, but being the first American female athlete for one championship, jiu-jitsu, and grappling, it's a good feeling because I feel like I am helping putting women's jiu-jitsu on the map, especially
Yeah,
like atom weight and smaller girls, because a lot of times yeah, I feel like nowadays, or not nowadays, but like in general, it's usually like the bantamweight or 135 girls, maybe 125 girls that get more of the attention,
yeah,
and barely like the small girls. So I'm really happy that I can showcase jujitsu because I feel like the smaller people, not saying the big people aren't technical, but I feel like we're like pretty fast and technical. So it feels really good to like put that out there.
yeah. Cool. And I know as well, obviously, a few years ago now, you did ADCC Trials, and obviously they've recently put in a lower weight class as well. Is that something you'd be interested in doing in the future as well?
For sure. I mean, it's still kind of big because it's like 121, and a lot of those
Yeah,
girls are cutting from like 135. I mean, it's still in my mind, but it's still like a huge difference. So I know, like for the opens, that there's 50 kilograms, which I think is
yeah,
like 114, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to that either.
And obviously, fast forward a little bit after the first, or sorry, during the first title fight that you had, that was beating Jessa, getting the revenge from the previous match that you two had. How did it feel to sort of get one back and full level, so it's 1-on-1 now?
Against Jessa?
Yeah,
Yeah, I felt pretty good, yeah, as time goes on, when I went against her the first time, not many people know, and I don't like being that person that's like, "Oh, my head was hurting that day," or "Oh, I had a broken leg." But, during that week, before fighting her the first grappling her against her the first time, I had a torn rotator cuff, so I couldn't like really lift my
oh,
elbow. But at the time I was one of those people that didn't want to like back out of a match because, I kind of was training for it, to train it for her. But also like looking back, I felt like they were kind of pushing her because she just had gotten her black belt, and that was her black belt debut match against me.
yeah,
So going back and being able to like beat her in old fashioned that I did against her, definitely a great feeling because I knew she was beatable. I think I just it just proves that if you put in the hard work and you just believe in yourself, anything can happen. So That's kind of what I'm going with that mindset in this rematch. Even the first match with Mayssa, because they train the same school. I don't think they train together, but I think they're under the same school.
Yeah.
It's the same feeling. I was ranked lower than both of them at one point. Not that rankings matter, I don't think, but going
Yeah.
forward into this match and last match, I was ranked below them, and I just felt like they were pushing that team a lot. So it felt really good to beat them.
Yeah, and obviously you mentioned the title fight with Mayssa. Is there anything that you've personally changed about your approach or anything in terms of tactics or anything like that in the last few months?
For sure, I mentioned before, I feel less stressed. I felt like if I put a lot more pressure on me, I start to overthink. I'm not in the groove of my training, or just not being myself. And I felt like, just doing when I was doing less, because I was always traveling to people last camp and just doing a lot more
Yeah.
extra stuff like moving and whatnot. I didn't want to, I felt like there was just a lot going on, which still is, but I just feel more relaxed this time going in. I guess not having the belt, like I feel less pressure, but I think
Yeah.
going in, I want to be more aggressive. So, because I felt like I initiated a lot the last match. Um, it kind of just depends like what the judges are looking for.
Yeah. I mean, in the last match, obviously, a big chunk of it was essentially her playing guard and then you passing, and that sort of scenario kind of played out quite a lot. Do you think it'll sort of go the same way, or are you looking to play guard more this time? Or
Um, I'm definitely confident in my guard, and I think when they're studying me, I feel like they think I don't have a guard because at one point, even with the match with Jessa, I made the mistake of not using my lasso leg when she was trying to pass guard. And I just went on my knees, and she was able to take my back. So they're definitely the AOJ and her team are definitely studying that, so or she's probably gonna come up. Um, but I think she's gonna play the same game plan because she did that for ADCC.
yeah,
And she didn't do a bad job, but it's just proven like she's very good and comfortable at what she does. But in my guess, I think she thinks I don't have a guard or anything. So I'm comfortable playing everywhere. I'm comfortable playing wrestling. I don't think her wrestling's that good at all. Which is why I was trying to get a reaction out of her in the last match. Um, yeah, I think the goal is to be more aggressive and just go after her this match.
cool. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be something that, like you said, if you can force her to wrestle with you, it's going to be a different avenue, to last time. And obviously, this is sort of the second like high-profile rematch that you said the Jessa won first. Is there any other rematches you'd be interested in getting back in the future?
Rematches, I heard there if I do when I do beat Mayssa, a trilogy match, but just for the fans and everything, I feel like for the both of us, like we compete with other people and then get that one back again. Because it's just like the MMA fights, no one wants to see straight the same people keep fighting each other.
Yeah,
Um, uh, Rematch wise, there's definitely I felt like a lot of girls in the absolutes. I don't know if they would cut to my weight, or I definitely would not go up to their weight class.
yeah,
There's a who was that? There's probably a few girls that are definitely like a lot of them train at the same gym actually at AUJ.
yeah.
There is one that I fought at Fight Pass and I felt like I got screwed over, but this was like 4 years ago. But I don't know if she cuts
Mm.
to 115. So yeah, I don't know. It kind of just depends, like who calls me out, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I suppose that's one of the benefits as well of being the champ is you kind of get people
Oh
coming
wait,
after you.
actually, I was called out. Actually, it's kind of funny because right when Mayssa got the belt, no one called her out, or specifically some people. But I know Tammi Musumeci called me out before, and she's beaten
Yeah,
me. She subbed me actually, the only girl that submitted me at the Who's Number One tournament. I always want to
yeah,
get that one back because I know that they're confident that they can beat me. And I feel like I'm in a different headspace now, so and different grappler. So that would be a cool one to get in the future. But I don't know like what the if she's still I know she's doing other things, so if that
yeah,
happens, it happens kind of thing. I know she's still ranked, so that I mean,
yeah,
if she's still ranked, then I guess I mean, it's Flo, so I don't really pay attention to them. But if she's still competing, like it would be a cool rematch.
Nice, nice. And is there anything that like looking forward to one championship now? I know in the past you talked about doing MMA a little bit. Is that something that you'd want to do, or you still want to do moving forward, or?
I have to talk to my team.
Yeah,
Right now, I'm just doing jiu-jitsu.
yeah, fair enough. And I know obviously it's been quite a common theme in one championship lately that people have moved divisions, and I know you said not about moving too far up, but would you ever be interested in moving up like one weight class as an example to try and get two belts?
I'm not opposed to that at all. I also would make 105 if because I know there's rankings now for 105. I've always wanted to do 105. I know Mayssa is actually ranked for 105, so hopefully like when I beat her, there'll be like some change there. Yeah, I would see myself being the 3 division. But 125 girls are they're definitely tough. Like it's a
Yeah,
if you have rolled with girls who are a solid or cut to 125, it's a different feeling. It's not like it's not like 115 or girls that are like smaller because people say like, oh, 135 is small. Like yes, compared to some guys, but it's a huge difference. 115, 125 to
yeah.
135. It's a huge difference.
I think as well the 135, 145 is kind of where most people fit in. Whereas like you said, like 115, 105 is where you get smaller, obviously, isn't it? You know, and opposite end of the scale as well. Um, is there anything else you've got on the horizon planned though? Because obviously this is going to be your last match this year, I'm guessing. Have you got any other ideas for next year at all?
For sure. I hope I can able to compete more. You know, it's not really in my control, but I definitely want to be active. Um I know on the side, like just depending on the details, like I would like to do like gi tournaments like for fun and then no gi like for professional. Just as like
Okay.
stay active. But yeah, for one, I would love to stay active for competing. But also I want to just travel. You know, I want to visit some places
Yeah.
that I haven't, teach, train and see some family. So I just want to get that out of the way in the beginning of the year.
Ah, cool. I know I spoke to you a little while ago about doing one of the training camps that you did recently, and you were saying about how much of a cool experience that was. Is that something that you want to do more of as well?
For sure. You know, it was when I did the Ibiza camp, I was a little nervous at first because I never taught at a camp where I was teaching alongside with like really good jiu-jitsu people and especially Roger Gracie. So like
Yeah.
and his family was there. So it was a bit like, all right, I don't want to mess up or if I teach something and I sound dumb and I shouldn't really think like that, but I get nervous with things like that. So yeah, I just want to do able to do more so that I'm more confident. And it's fun. It's a fun
Yeah.
camp.
I mean, yeah, it's like you said, traveling, seeing new places is always good. You mentioned obviously gi tournaments. Is there when you say that, do you mean just like IBJJF Open type of thing, or do you
Yeah,
actually want to have a go at Worlds?
just for fun.
Yeah. So just a couple of matches, nothing major sort of thing.
No, but like obviously if it was like able to if it's able to for my schedule and if I don't have like a no gi like no I prioritize no gi matches for one, so if it's like in the way or something then I'm not going to do it. It's just more
Sure.
like for fun like what Kate and them do.
Yeah, when they just pop out to like random opens whenever
Yes.
you enter kind of thing.
Yeah.
No worries. That's pretty much all I wanted to go through with you, really. Is there anything you want to say before you go, or anyone you want to give a shout out to, or anything like that?
For sure. Shout out to my team, Silver Fox, Alumni Grappling, and my strength and conditioning coach, Rich Poller. I can't wait to compete. Make sure you guys watch me on Amazon Prime December 6th and watch me get my belt back.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing it. Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.